So today I want to talk about one of my favorite Nintendo DS games, Tetris DS. The game came out back in 2006, roughly 2 years after the release of the Nintendo DS. Tetris is such a classic game with so many different iterations, and I'll admit I barely played a fraction of them. But some of them I really enjoyed were the versions from NES, Game Boy, and some of the spin-offs like Tetris Attack. I even remember having Tetris on a graphing calculator back in high school. The most recent Tetris game I played was Tetris 99 on Nintendo Switch. I feel like Tetris is such a classic and simple game, it's hard to be motivated to check out every version out there, unless there was something really unique about it. I always felt Tetris DS was one of the best versions of Tetris I ever played. I remember it feeling so unique, new, and took advantage of Nintendo DS hardware. I'm not quite sure if it's nostalgia or blindness, but I wanted to revisit the game to confirm how great it really was. So one of the major appeals of Tetris DS is that it had several different game modes. At the time they felt new and unique, and I actually haven't really seen most of these modes used again in future Tetris titles. It also felt like a celebration of all things Nintendo, mostly the classic NES era, where it came from different backgrounds, to themes, to new versions and mixes of music. So there was so much to love, especially if you were a kid growing up on Nintendo. Tetris DS had 6 unique modes. Some I feel only unique to this title. There's some modes like Standard and Mission, which mostly plays on the classic Tetris mechanics. There were also modes called Tower and Puzzle, which was more of a twist on a puzzle-like gameplay. There was also a fun twist of a single-player mode called Catch, and a new competitive mode called Push. One thing I remember blowing my mind when it came to multiplayer in Tetris DS is at the time was the online play. Nintendo Wi-Fi was pretty new. Looking it up, it first launched around November 2005, but I thought it was just crazy how you can easily play Tetris online against other players. Also, local multiplayer was pretty fun too. Something that was a really cool feature of the Nintendo DS is download play. With older Nintendo handhelds, such as Game Boy and Game Boy Color, to play multiplayer games, not only did each player have to have its own handheld, you had to have link cables, but each player had to have a cartridge of the same game. With the Nintendo DS, not only did wireless help get rid of the link cable, but some games had a download play feature option, so players that didn't have the game can play multiplayer and download like a temporary multiplayer version of it. Usually download play limits content of the game, which can be more apparent with games like Mario Kart DS, but with Tetris being such a simple game, I don't think it hinders the multiplayer that much. When looking back at Tetris DS, I felt like it's definitely a highlight for the Nintendo DS library and one of the best Tetris games out there. I often have the thought that this Tetris experience can only be done on the Nintendo DS, or at least a dual screen system, and thinking this can't be replicated otherwise. While revisiting and playing it again, I found that's not true. I will agree that Tetris DS takes advantage of the Nintendo DS hardware, especially with its presentation, but I don't see why we can't have this on console. I would say when it comes to mobile Tetris, this game is perfection, but would love to see a spiritual successor. Sure, the unique game modes and presentation look so good on dual screens. With playing this game again, I feel like it actually doesn't depend on the Nintendo DS. I can definitely see a game like this being on the Switch, and thinking about it more, I find it surprising we haven't had such a title like it. There have been newer titles with unique twists, such as Puyo Puyo Tetris, Tetris 99, and Tetris Effect, as well as other games that take inspiration such as Tricky Towers, but I don't feel like they didn't have quite the magic as Tetris DS. Maybe it's a nostalgia with the game's themes and music, and it felt like not only a celebration of Tetris, but Nintendo. It just seems since the new modes introduced aren't really used again. It's really one of the best Tetris games out there, and definitely worth checking out. Part of me will always wish they would make a true successor, even an updated port of Tetris DS. Not sure if that would ever happen, but one can hope. Just wanted to say thanks for taking time to listen to my stupid little video and commentary. The best way to support me on the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. There's links in the description for social links and all that. And comment below what kind of movies, cartoons, whatever you want me to talk about in the future. And yeah, have a great day.